I'd like to call the regular council meeting for the town of Bay-Westfield on Tuesday, April 11th, 2023 to order at 7 o'clock p.m. We respectfully acknowledge that Bay-Westfield exists on the traditional Woolastoqua land. The lands of Wabanaki people are recognized in a series of peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. The river that runs by our town is known as Woolastoq, along which live Woolastoqua, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river. We, the staff and elected representatives, pay respect to the elders, past and present, and descendants of this land. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope everybody had a nice long weekend. I just have some short remarks tonight. First of all, I'd like to send a huge kudos to River Valley Middle School on their school project, making sleeping mats out of fishing rope for people that are sleeping rough in the region, in the city, and in the surrounding area. That's in some really incredible leadership shown by the students and the teachers. It's specifically Leroy Vincent and the new principal, Sasha Kumbia. So thank you for that. That kind of leadership and initiative for the leaders of our future is really heartwarming to see. I also would like to make a reminder that along with the great, beautiful sunny weather, we have an increase in cyclists and motorcyclists on the road. So this is just a reminder that we need to share the road. We need to make sure that we keep our eyes open. We follow all of the rules of the road, and just remember that that everybody is somebody's mother, brother, daughter, sister, whether they're on a bike, a motorcycle, or in a car. So thank you for that. Item 4, record of attendance. Let the record reflect that we have full attendance here this evening. Item 5, agenda approval. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Bay-Westfield approve the agenda of April 11th, 2023 as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Item 6, disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there any? There being none. Item 7, public hearings, presentations, delegations, petitions. There being none, we'll move on to item 8, minutes of previous meeting. 8A, regular council minutes of March 27th, 2023. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Bay-Westfield adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of March 27th, 2023 as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Bellmans. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Balcom. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Item 9, unfinished business. There being none, we'll move on to item 10, bylaws. Just a reminder that due to the local governance reform process, we are required to repass all the town bylaws so that they apply to the entirety of the new town of Bay-Westfield as of January 1, 2023. So we have third readings by title and enactment of the following town of Bay bylaws. 10A, administrative penalties bylaw, and I'll do the third reading by, actually, you know what I'll do maybe, John, is I'll have you speak to each one and then I'll do the third reading. I think that'll make more sense because we have so many of them.
Sure.
Is that all right with you? All right, let's do it.
The administrative penalty bylaw, this is one that's been a bit of an adventure for administration, and that's primarily because we were not able to find an existing bylaw in the province. Fredericton asked us to have one for, it came out of the accommodation bylaw. The way the city does it is different than what Fredericton thought we should do it. So we actually had to write this from scratch, and we asked our lawyers to be able to do that for us. So basically it just gives us the ability to raise revenue from fines. And again, just to remind council that our goal is not to generate revenue from fines or penalties. Our goal is to inform and educate residents first and foremost, but if we have to compel compliance, the penalties are a way to do it.
Thank you, John. Do we have any questions before I do the third reading on the administrative penalties bylaw? There being none, third reading by title. Bylaw number GG-007, respecting administrative penalties. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the administrative penalties bylaw GG-007. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Do I have a second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. 10B, the plastic bag reduction bylaw. And again, John, if you can speak to that, please.
Yes, just quickly, Your Worship. This is a bylaw that the municipalities that are served by the Regional Service Commission agreed to. I believe it might have been 2021. So we're just renewing this so that it applies to Ward 2 as well. And again, on this one, we didn't really have any input into it. This was presented to us by the Regional Service Commission when we first approved it.
Does anybody have any questions for John before I do the third reading? Bylaw, third reading by title. Bylaw number GG-009, respecting plastic bag reduction. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the plastic bag reduction bylaw GG-009. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Bellman. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item C, noise bylaw. John?
Your Worship, I'm not happy with this bylaw, and I think I speak for our leadership team that we find this one a difficult bylaw right now. I think we're trying to do too many things. It's complicated by two things here. One is consumer fireworks. There's general, I'm not going to say unhappiness, but unease with how much use of consumer fireworks there are, and that it is a nuisance in certain neighborhoods. And then what we heard from council last time is they didn't want it all the time, but they wanted it some of the time. And so what we tried to do here is include statutory holidays as the only days that are permitted to use fireworks. However, New Year's Eve is an exception. Usually you don't do fireworks until midnight, so we tried to accommodate that. But then, if it's Civic Monday, do we want fireworks going off at midnight and people may be going to work on Tuesday? So there's some of these inconsistencies. Finally, there's, not finally, but there's an edit mistake that needs to be fixed in section 6 that says commercial rather than consumer. At the end of the day, perhaps we just want to have commercial fireworks that the town provides through a contractor, which is expensive, but it doesn't allow people to have that sense of, I can just set them off in my backyard. So really the confusion comes around consumer fireworks. And then again, as I've said to council, is it enforceable? And the RCMP aren't always around when fireworks go off. And usually you have to catch people in the act, or do we have a number of residents who all witness and verify that? So there may be some aspects of enforcement that could be a problem, which brings us to an all or nothing type of thing. Either we allow it all the time, or do we just allow it none of the time? So from my perspective, I'm unhappy with what we have here. We tried to reflect what council wants from the last meeting. I don't think that we're doing a good job of it right now, if I may say that. And then finally, section 5. This is a complicated one in the sense that we're not going to allow pneumatic hammers, construction equipment and machinery, and vehicles of business on Sundays, basically, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. And, first blush, you think, oh, it'd be nice to have a quiet day. But what about the people who work Monday through Friday and they say, oh, you know what, I want to fell a tree. And I'm only home on Sunday to be able to do that. Or if I want to bring an arborist in to do it. Or, there may be something else like that. Or DTI may be paving through the weekend, or maybe we have a contractor doing Majestic or something on a Sunday because we've been rained out a number of days. So there are some concerns around that one. I think it tries to capture the need for quiet on Sunday, but doesn't go too far. So those are some of the concerns from my side. We tried to capture what council did, but I don't think this is a good reflection of what this community really needs. Right now, I don't know what the answer is.
So before we decide to proceed with the motion or pull and refer it to staff, I'd like to hear from council their opinions on the bylaw as it stands. Anybody have any comments? Deputy Mayor?
I had a question about the Sunday, so thank you for bringing that. I didn't know where that came from. I don't remember that from the discussion with council, but maybe it was. I know, and I was gonna ask kind of about the fireworks, if there was any examples that we had, that other jurisdictions have did this, but no. I wasn't overly comfortable with this one, but I hear what you said, that it's kind of a work in progress, so thank you.
Yeah, if I just, my experience is out west, and fireworks throwing in New Year's and Canada Day, and it's heavily supervised by the fire department, but the risk for fire is more significant than it is here.
Councilor Bell?
Whether that we have Sunday shopping and all that stuff, and people do work shift work, and I wonder at what time they get time to do stuff around their own home. If they have to cut a tree down, or 3 days on, 4 days on, sometimes they're putting obstacle in front of people to get their stuff done around their house also, so. I don't know.
Councilor Bellman, I echo that concern. I picked that out of that section 5 out as well because, I understand, we all need a quiet day, but, I understand that, but it did concern me that we were restricting activity of that nature for people that maybe, that's their only day that they can do things. And I did have that question to the CAO, should DTI be doing, work on River Valley Drive or Narrow's Drive on Sunday, does this restrict them from doing that? So I think it needs to go back for further refinement.
Would that restrict bleeding the streets at night time for the street bleeder? Would they work all night, or are they work the daytime, or so when it rains, you want them to work as much as you can, use the water, the rain to dust control, right? So hard to put a limit on people who want to do things in a reasonable hour, that's all.
Especially with weather.
And over the years,
Councilor Day?
I've only received noise complaints, not so much even from the fireworks, but from when we had the cancer walk at the circuit, and it went all night. And some people complained because they could hear them all night because they had music or whatever, and it was one night a year. So.
We have any other questions or
I'll just echo everyone else's comments. Yeah, I think you should think twice about limiting the Sunday one, because yes, some people work, all week and that's their only day to do stuff in their own yard. I'm just wondering, this would probably be too much work, but if people know that they're going to be doing that, or we know that there's going to be work being done, could we just put like a FYI out to the public, just saying, this area, or there may be noise in this area, or.
Well, for town work, the Works Commissioner has been pretty good in working with our communications manager to ensure that adequate information is going out, and I think we've made great strides in that area. But to have private residents contact to do that, I think that's maybe being a bit
that would
too
be
much.
every weekend, yeah.
That may be too much.
Yeah, it would be too much.
Yeah, and as far as fireworks, I don't really have an opinion. Like my dogs get freaked out about them, but I know people want to do them. Birthdays or Canada Day or.
My concern about noise control is people drive ATVs in the middle of the night with loud mufflers and like big motorbike going, they're revving, they're in jake brakes and stuff. That's where I think the noise bugs people, mostly that kind of thing.
So, that is in here when you look at the definition of noise, things, motorcycles, motorbikes,
Yeah.
snowmobiles, all terrain. I just want to caution council, and we had this conversation weeks ago, where the enforcement of that is difficult because we don't, officers don't carry drawing a blank.
Decibel.
things.
Yeah,
That's what we-
meters to record the decibels. We don't have a decibel number here that mufflers can't exceed, say, 80 decibels or something like that. The technology's there, but the access to the technology isn't here yet. That's where the issue is on that. And then usually they're gone anyways. But it is here, and maybe we have a neighbor that's a nuisance that could call, but typically that's gonna be a little bit more difficult to enforce. But what I really haven't heard from council, I need direction on the fireworks. If we're gonna have consumer fireworks in the bylaw, when are they permitted, when are they not permitted, or do you just want them out, want that out? If you want that out, it makes it very easy, I take it out of the definition, and then it becomes that you can have fireworks 24/7, 365.
Right, Councillor Bowman?
I think take it out myself. Well, take it out, because you know why? Because you only blow something off in a few minutes, because it's very expensive to have fireworks. And usually about 5-10 minutes, and if they're happy for 5 minutes, that's, the neighbors have like it too sometimes. Some people neighbors do like that, right? Fireworks. And I think it's free. I can see from across the river they're doing it, and I think it's great, free fireworks, so I guess take it out.
Councillor
I
Knight?
think take it out, and if someone's doing it continuously,
Yeah.
like every night or every weekend, then neighbors can call the OCP.
But just to speak to that, I don't think the way this is written would cover that, because it says that it's permitted.
Well, then not after 11, right?
Yeah, not after 11. Well, no, because we're gonna be taking it out. Or we just
No,
say
there's
it's
still
not,
gonna be a noise bylaw,
there's
isn't
still-
there?
Yeah.
There'd still be a noise bylaw, like no noise after 11.
okay, then you want us to keep it in here for all year.
You mean the noise bylaw?
No, fireworks and the noise bylaw,
The fireworks come out, but there's still a noise bylaw that's relevant.
but fireworks aren't covered, sorry?
Well, you mean, I just wanna clarify what I'm hearing here. So I think, and just correct me if I'm wrong, so, I think what Councillor McIntosh Lawrence is saying, and what Councillor Bailman's is saying, that item 6 comes out.
Yes,
However,
Yes.
fireworks are still under item 2B. Under noise means any noise,
Okay.
and fireworks is in there.
Right.
Is that, am I reflecting
Sorry,
what I'm hearing correctly?
Yes.
that makes more sense, I misunderstood, I'm sorry.
Councillor Balcon, do you have any,
That makes more sense now,
okay,
absolutely.
Councillor Bellman?
I haven't heard fireworks in the last, just New Year's, so I don't know the gist of all this. hoopla
Summer's
about
coming.
Huh?
Summer's
It's
coming.
been a while, so I don't know, I mean, they don't do it every day. I mean, it's really an event thing for somebody to do it. And I don't think they just go out and do it on purpose, unless they get money to blow on fireworks.
There are people who do that within the town limits, and I've received numerous complaints because of it on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday. So it can be an issue, but I think if it is addressed under noise, that may be helpful, if there are some tools with which to deal with. Councillor Balcon?
Just for clarification, fireworks will be permitted 12 months a year, but not after 11 p.m., including New Year's Eve. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think we should specify New Year's Eve in there as well. That would be my recommendation. Clarity is clear.
Right, because that would be the 12 midnight.
Yes.
So John, do you want
Or
me to
maybe make that
clarify?
fine
I'm just,
exception.
no, I'm just trying to make a note here that
Okay.
I don't really know, so just give me a second.
Can I say something?
Yes, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence.
Or maybe it's an exception, that it's only allowed on New Year's Eve.
And not allowed the rest of the year at all?
No,
Okay.
just
I-
before 11.
Right, I believe that was Councillor Balcon's suggestion, am I understanding that correctly?
No,
Oh, okay,
no.
yeah,
But I'm okay if it specifies in 2B or 2B1 that on New Year's Eve, at 11:59 on the 31st, it can go on for a limited period of time, and I think we should specify that too.
Right, that is what I meant, so.
Okay.
John, do you have enough,
Yeah, I think so.
enough direction? Does anybody have anything else? Oh, yeah, no, you're not, next. Deputy Mayor.
With number 5, is that going to take out Sunday but keep an evening earlier limit on the machinery? Is that what we were? Like, remove the Sunday restriction, but I know we talked last time about that
Where does
11
that come
o'clock,
out?
machinery all the way up to 11 is pretty rough, but having machinery be earlier but not restricted on Sunday.
So, sorry, I was finishing typing and I heard you. So, number 5, we would modify, say, in addition to section 4, this shall also apply to noise caused by blah, 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 between the hours of 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. on a Sunday.
I thought take the Sunday out, but in the I thought we talked last time.
We talked about evenings.
Evenings, like maybe restricting it to 8 or 9 for machinery, because that's a.
But I know they do work, they typically shut down at 8, but
Okay, then that's.
but if they're behind or if they have a short window, if weather's an issue that they're expecting, say, a storm, if they put in 2 or 3 nights until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock,
So you're talking about taking it out entirely?
yeah, that's what I heard from council. And then as I think about construction on our projects, you never know what happens with weather. Most times they go home 7, 8 o'clock, but that doesn't mean there won't be circumstances that says, we have to get this job done.
The hammer is a different story altogether. The hammer, 21st, I know, you heard up on, you have it, it's a consistent noise that people don't really like. So I think having it within like 7 till 7 or 7 to 8, just like that's such a hammer noise all the time is a little unrealistic for people to live around.
Maybe something,
Deputy Mayor Tool.
maybe something like 9 o'clock, and goes with the light and. I'm thinking I don't want to change our cameras going in.
Councillor McIntosh.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, again, people that work 8 to 5 all week, but then they're building a house, and that's when they have to work on it, is in the evening.
I think what I'm hearing is that we want to manage the noise without putting barriers in the way of people doing work that they need to do, or commercial, well, not commercial, but government enterprises in particular, doing road work, etc. So I'm not sure where the fine line is there, and maybe, I'm not hearing a clear mandate from council on the right path forward. So, is this something that staff can do some more work on, John, to try and finesse that a little bit further?
I think I just might refer to the lawyer at this point.
Councillor Malcolm, I think you had some comments on this the last time we had it before us.
Just one last comment. Is it possible, and I think it was Councillor Bailman who mentioned this earlier this evening, that the annual street sweeping, they prefer to do it in the evening. There's less vehicles on the road, they're much more efficient. Is there a way that we can include a clause in here that exceptions to this could be granted by with a request to the CAO to make that decision based on the circumstances? Like street sweeping, I would not want to have that in the bylaw that we couldn't do it at night time.
I don't think street sweeping's that bad. Yeah, there's, but if you go down,
Where is it, on the 7th?
So not applying.
It doesn't apply to town.
Yes, we can use it already.
where do you see that, David?
It's under 7,
Seven, yeah.
It's contractors or employees of the town while in the course of their duties. Snow removal equipment, authorized emergency vehicles or emergency equipment. So, yeah. So I think I'm hearing that we still need more work on that particular piece and specifically, I think they've been more than clear about fireworks.
Yeah.
So, it's the will of council that we pull and refer this bylaw to administration for further refinement.
So just table it and refer it to us.
Do I need a vote for that? for this. So we're all in favor of?
Speaking of preferred, the animal control bylaw is supposed to meet with a person who is an expert on feral cats. She wasn't able to make the meeting. I hope to reschedule that. And then the chief is still working on the volunteer firefighter bylaw this right now.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so council will move on to 10D, Tourism Accommodation Levy Bylaw. And John, please speak to this before I do the third reading, please.
Yeah, council, again, this is a bylaw that was given to us. We've just amended it for Grand Bay-Westfield. We are obliged to pass this due to us signing the members agreement to establish Envision St. John. So this wording is pretty consistent right throughout the area, and this is something that we have to do.
Thank you. So I'll do this third reading, then open to questions. Third reading by title. Bylaw number PD-001, respecting tourism accommodation levy. The motion is the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the tourism accommodation levy bylaw PD-001. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Burpee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Balcom. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, council. 10E, civic numbering bylaw. And John, please.
Yeah, Your Worship, this is pretty short and sweet, just requires everybody to identify their house through a street number so that emergency services can respond to it quickly and accurately. They are, if you want a numbering plate, the chief has one. People can order them at the fire department, and they're prepared here. And what would that particular one cost, Chief?
Two digits, $12.
Oh,
And those are the really reflective ones that show up.
Correct. They're not required to have these are just an available option.
yeah. If people want something more elaborate, the zoning bylaw has, lays out quite clearly their size and their appearance. I don't know, do you want to talk to that a little bit, David?
You know, it's under the MD 911 regulations.
Sorry. Okay.
So that's why it's not
Right, thank you. Alright, so I'll do the third reading and open to questions. Third reading by title, bylaw number PD-002, respecting civic numbering. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the civic numbering bylaw PD-002. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Bailman. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Bailman?
So we don't have a number on your house, how long does it take to get the number up to your house? Do you have will it be enforceable, or do we have to tell people to get a number, or something?
So if someone doesn't have a number, how is
Yeah.
it enforced?
Yeah.
John?
Our bylaw enforcement in the town is reactive. Somebody may be driving by and notice I can't see it, make a note. Could be a neighbor saying, hey, it could be a volunteer firefighter or the chief noticing that it's not there. Bylaw enforcement in the town of Grand Bay-Westfield is reactive, not proactive, Councillor. If they want one, they call the fire department and they place an order. Is there any details you want to give to that, Chief?
There's also an online form. They go to the town's website, it's on the fire page, there's a link there where you just fill out an order form. Or sign up, or register everything, call the station.
Would vacant lots have to have a number also, vacant lot?
No, I don't put a thing. No,
Just residences and buildings,
Okay.
or businesses.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Burke.
Just one question, is it preferred that the number be on the actual building or at the end of the driveway, or does that really matter?
I'm with the fire chief.
It's more so the act, and as it's put in here, it's just that it's clearly visible from the principal roadway. So as long as it can be clearly seen, you're meeting the requirements of the act. From our perspective, we're used to them being everywhere.
Okay.
Certainly something that's nice and reflective and closer to the road is better, from our perspective, but, as long as it is there.
I've seen people that with the, the reflective one at the end of their driveway, so emergency services can see it as they're coming up the road, and then they have the nice decorative one on their actual.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried, thank you, Councillor. Item 10F, Planning Advisory Committee bylaw. John?
Your worship, council, I don't think you're gonna find a shorter bylaw. Basically, we're just saying, instead of prescribing a set number, I believe it's 7 on the advisory committee, we're saying that it can be up to 15. That's the only change, and what we're also suggesting, that we be intentional in recruiting somebody from Ward 2 for the planning advisory committee. So what we'd like to do is our communications manager is set to go to begin advertising for the recruitment of a new planning advisory member from Ward 2.
So third reading by title, bylaw number PD-003, respecting planning advisory committee. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the planning advisory committee bylaw PD-003. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Balcom. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Burpee. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Section 10G, Sunday shopping bylaw. And so John, if you don't mind.
This is the shortest bylaw. We're just repealing Sunday shopping bylaw. It's up to businesses, well, actually it's not up to businesses. If people want to shop on Sunday, their dollars, the profit and loss margin on a business will determine if they're open or not. It's not the town. So, short and sweet, just repeal it, let the residents, consumers, and the businesses determine if they're open.
Thank you. Third reading by title, bylaw number PD-005, respecting Sunday shopping. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the Sunday shopping bylaw PD-005. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Bailman. Do I have a second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Move on to 11, new business recommendations. 11A, RCMP contract policing. John, can you speak to the motion, please?
Oh, sorry.
I don't read the whole motion, you can speak to it.
So since about 2017, the federal government and the national, I forgot the name, National Police Union have been negotiating for a new collective agreement. During those negotiations, not once was a municipal representative around the table speaking to the financial capacity and the financial values that municipalities make our budgets by. And so this negotiated deal, which was, I believe, made in good faith, excluded municipalities. And a deal was struck. However, the money that's been set aside, for an example, Grand Bay-Westfield, we've been putting away extra money each year to compensate for the retro pay that would be given to the members, is not enough. That's where we're at now. For Grand Bay-Westfield, we don't know the exact number yet. The province hasn't provided that for a variety of reasons. But what we do anticipate here is that we could be forced to dip into our reserves to make up the difference. And due to ongoing, taking over snow patrol as an example, our reserves are pretty stretched right now. So we're just asking that, one, that the federal government should be responsible for the retro pay, not municipalities. Fundamentally, we weren't at the negotiating table. So why are we paying money that we had no input into how it's being spent?
So I'll read the motion. Prioritizing municipal input in future RCMP contract policing decisions. Whereas the Government of Canada has made the decision in Budget 2023 to make municipalities responsible for all retroactive costs stemming from the latest RCMP collective bargaining agreement. And whereas these extraordinary one-time costs, which in some jurisdictions amount to millions of dollars, will cause significant hardship for communities and residents across the country, and were negotiated without meaningful consultation or a seat at the table for the municipalities responsible for paying the bill. And whereas municipal governments are already paying a growing share of policing costs, but unlike other orders of government, cannot run deficits to spread out the impact of these extraordinary one-time sums and have limited revenue tools. And whereas local governments will now be forced to make difficult decisions that will impact residents, such as cutting essential services, reducing policing levels, raising property taxes significantly, and/or canceling work on local infrastructure at a time when Canadians' concerns about community safety and the cost of living are already rising. And whereas, going forward, it is critical that municipalities be proactively engaged in any forthcoming processes related to contract policing to prevent this occurring again. Therefore be it resolved that the town of Grand Bay-Westfield joins the Federation of Canadian Municipalities in calling on the federal government to commit to ensuring that local governments are meaningfully consulted, fully informed, and at the table on issues related to policing costs, given the municipal role in keeping our communities safe, and be it further resolved that the town of Grand Bay-Westfield conveys this support in writing to local members of Parliament. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tudor. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Burke. Any questions or comments on the motion? I would just like to take a moment to say that as a town and through FCM, we've been advocating for the federal government to cover the RCMP retro pay since we were all sworn in. I went to Ottawa with FCM in December for advocacy days and spoke to numerous members of Parliament and ministers on this very same issue. And I was very disappointed to see that in Budget 2023, these costs were not covered. As it says in the resolution, we have limited revenue tools. This could be crippling to certain municipalities, and it certainly won't go unnoticed by ours when we're talking about potential hit in the six figures. And these are costs, as John says, the resolution says that we were not at the table to negotiate. We had no say in it. There was no collaboration. There was no cooperation. I was in Alberta a week and a half ago with the president of FCM, and she presented on budget day wearing RCMP red serge and said very forcefully that it was akin to someone taking her wallet and going shopping with that wallet, and without her being there to consult, to collaborate, to be part of the decision-making process. So, thank you, Council, for considering this resolution, and hopefully it passes and we are able to send a message to the federal government on the unacceptability of them not covering retro pay for the RCMP officers going back to 2017. Any other questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried. Thank you very much, Council. Item 11B, intersection review, Park Avenue and Layla Street. Is it Layla or Lila Street?
I would say Layla, but I'm
Layla
not,
Street.
never know with
I don't know. John Billings, you would know.
Leia.
Layla?
Yeah, I call it Leela.
Leia.
So,
Say Lila.
John, can you speak to the motion?
Yeah, so in the course of the winter, I believe it was the Works Commissioner received expression of concern about the viewage along that area. So the Works Commissioner took an investigation and asked Anglo to take a look at it. And I'll let the Works Commissioner take over from there.
Yeah, so with the review, I guess, of the traffic signage in Echo Park Heights, which is Phillips Park and Lula. Anglo looked at that, and again, what the original concern was when you come up Park and continue on Park, you go across Lila. But Leela does not have a stop sign, and Park does not either, so there's no traffic control going south and going up. So with that, we sent Dan Globe and they had a look, and they're recommending that the stop signs that are currently there be relocated, so that it would go on to Leela, where there presently is not one, and the one that is on Park, being the straight street, is removed. But to do that, we need a traffic bylaw change, to do that as part of the recommendation. And part of the new incorporation of Grand Bay-Westfield, we need to do a traffic bylaw for that, so when that happens, this should be included as a traffic amendment to that bylaw.
Thank you. So I will read the motion and open questions. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield remove the stop sign on Park Avenue at the intersection of Park Avenue and Leela Street and add a new stop sign on Leela Street before entering Park Avenue in the new traffic bylaw. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Bellman. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Are there any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Bellman.
I see problems at hills, there's quite a hill there, they come slide down a hill and have a stop sign, they'll go through the intersection, hit the car, come down Park Street anyway, so there's no wind situation there as a hill, it's quite steep. So unless you put a two-way stop sign going down on that cul-de-sac, a stop sign there also, because people should stop because when you go down the hill, so they're sliding, you're not gonna stop. Unless you're up at San Andreas for 5 minutes, so. I should be 3 stop signs there, or 2 stop signs. So say there's a stop sign there and the one down Leela if you want to do it that way. Or keep it the same as is my recommendation, so.
Thank you, Councillor. Does
I think we'll just go back to Englow. There's only, looks like 3-4 homes there.
Yeah.
On Park. I think we'll just go back to Englow and get their opinion as well on that. But we still have time before we amend the traffic bylaw.
Yeah, we did it again. It's a dangerous spot. Come that hill, it's quite steep.
So I would just encourage council, if they agree with Councillor Bailmans, to refer this to the administration. Or you can, that would be the one if you want us to inquire for it.
okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Does council want to refer this to administration to go back to Englow?
Yes.
Councillor Bellman, yes? That goes to the will of council. We have a motion on the table, so what's the governance? We'll just table it?
It will refer to administration and we'll refer to the works commissioner to follow up with Englow.
Okay, that's good. Do we need a vote on that? No. Thank you. Then we'll move on to 11C rather, appointment of auditors. And John?
Yes, your worship. So we had another good audit last time. I just want to thank Curry and Betts. We had a good working relationship with this time. It was a much different process than what we followed or that I followed here in previous years. This one much more resembled normal than what we had before. Anyways, they were doing an internal review as to whether or not they were going to continue doing municipal audits. And at the conclusion of their internal review, they notified our CFO that they'd like to continue doing ours. We had a good experience with them this year. We're anticipating a better experience next year. So we're recommending to council that we renew for next year.
Thank you, John. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield appoint the firm of Curry and Betts CPA as the town's auditor for the fiscal year 2023. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Bellman. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item D, Mayor's Monarch Pledge. And I would like to actually thank the chair of the rural district for bringing this Monarch Pledge to our attention, Ray Riddell. I want to thank him specifically for making us aware. I didn't even know that this existed. This is just a really wonderful, good news story and a way for us to support the monarchs and basically help create monarch habitat. And not only that, but engage and educate residents in the area regarding the monarch habitat, migration patterns, and all of that, the conservation projects that are available, etc. So John, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I hadn't heard about it either, Your Worship, until you forwarded it to me. I'm just happy to know, both through the Works Commissioner and our Recreation Director, that we've already been able to incorporate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 things on the operations side that we can do or are doing, and that easily exceeds the 3 that's needed to be considered fulfilled. And further, the Recreation Director identified a number of things that were being done through community groups to ensure that it's being done. So overall, we're exceeding the expectations.
Yes, and that's exciting.
It's not an empty talk.
No, it's not an empty pledge, and we, like you said, we're already doing much of the work, and for us to incorporate more that is harder, well, it isn't a big deal, I guess, in terms of what we.
It's not a big deal, it is some deal, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, so, but I think that speaks to the direction that we're going in terms of our environmental stewardship of the town. So, I'll read the motion and open it to questions. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the mayor signing the Monarch Pledge and authorize administration to undertake the necessary work to complete the pledge and encourage residents and local groups to continue their work to ensure the rejuvenation of the monarch butterfly. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Item 12, bills for payment. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield authorize the April 11th, 2023 bills for payment as presented in the amount for $172,587.90. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Balcom. Any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Balcom, and then Councillor McIntosh Lawrence.
Thank you, Your Worship. 2 items. Item number 19, J.W. Bird and Company Limited for just over $3,000 for asphalt patching. Just wondering if that's the packages of pre-mixed asphalt that our town staff have used previously for filling potholes, and if so, is it our staff who had done the work on that $3,000 worth of asphalt?
John?
Yeah, that's called patching, and our staff to do it, about 90% of it was on River Valley Drive in there.
Thank you very much. And number 29, Narapis Electric, just over $465 to diagnose and repair antique lights. I know I'm old, but I don't know if we have any antique lights. I'd like to know where those antique lights are and what the definition of antique is. Is it just non-LED, or is it incandescent, or where is it? And do we have more?
I don't want to get into the tech definition of antique, but if the council recalls, we had lighting issues over at the Peace Park last fall with some older lights,
Older. Okay.
and those are now repaired.
Thank you.
Did you want more detail than that?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor McIntosh Lawrence?
Just one, number 7, Curry Betts. I see it's for $19,550, and we just heard that we have $17,000 budgeted. So I'm just wondering where the extra comes from. Is that discretionary or?
No, we have to pull it out of operational savings somewhere. And that's a bill that, sorry, I'll let the CFO speak to it.
So the cost you saw in the report was pre-HEC, and that would include HEC. So that would be the additional amount. We did most of that.
Okay.
Thank you. Answer your question? Yeah. Any other questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Yes.
Can I just speak to item number 17? So one of the things that we're trying to do is develop some good process maps for how we do things. some good standard operating procedures and guidelines. This software includes artificial intelligence and a database of 400 communities. So one of the biggest hurdles to developing those 3 items is the blank page. And the intent is AI will accelerate the research, and there's a database for us to refer to instead of pecking away, seeing what we can find. Because a lot of these types of documents are not public-facing documents. So we consider this a pretty good deal, and we'll be using it throughout the town. So we're one of the last steps in getting there.
Thank you, John. So item 13, consent agenda. 13A, Fire Department Monthly Report, March 2023. B, Building Permit Report, January 2023. C, Building Permit Report, February 2023. D, Building Permit Report, March 2023. E, Local Governance Reform, Working Together for a Better Future. F, Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, Minutes of March 20, 2023. G, Angus Reid, Coping with Cost of Living Increase. H, Atlantic Fiscal Monitor, Federal Budget, March 2023. I, Canada Budget 2023, FCM Analysis. J, Junior Achievers, Thank You Letter, and Consent Agenda. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the consent agenda items for April 11th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Do I have a second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. We'll move on to item 14, Council reports. We'll start with Councillor Balcom this evening.
Thank you, Your Worship. Since last council meeting, I attended one more PAC meeting, and also last Thursday I had the pleasure of attending a webinar with our CFO, our CAO, and our development officer in this room, put on by the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation. For $4 billion of 100-cent dollars that's available to municipalities across the country to come up with innovative ideas to basically create additional housing stock. We're in competition with others, but it was a very informative webinar, and I look forward to further development work on that. That's it, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Balcom. The purpose of the council reports is to report on the specific activities that all the councillors are doing with respect to moving the town forward, and that's a perfect example, so thank you for that work. Councillor McIntyre.
I just have 2 items, not really that I attended, but I wanted to revoice what the mayor said about the grade 8 students at River Valley School, just because my son is one of those students. So yeah, they're making the beds for the homeless, and they'll deliver them after they're making 30, and their rope is recycled fishing rope from the ocean. So once they get those made, they'll personally deliver them to the homeless. So that's a great project. And the other item, I just wanted to recognize Inglewood School for their Easter auction. They raised over $4,800, and that's going to go towards technology for students at Inglewood. So I just wanted to recognize them. It was a great event, which I did attend.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole.
Thank you. I was actually had some fun, until it's spring, there's lots of stuff going on. I had the pleasure of attending with many of you here the Easter basket auction at Inglewood School, and it was excellent. And a couple other highlights. I was able to attend with a few of town staff and some other councillors, the large lunch with the U.S. Ambassador to Canada, which was, I think, put on by the Chamber in St. John. It was excellent a few weeks ago, so that was great to hear his remarks. And they centered, I found, around diversity, which was just excellent to hear. And another highlight I had was I had the pleasure of being able to speak, say a few words on behalf of the town at the Y Newcomer Employment Champion Gala, which was 2 weeks ago. These are the fun things I get to do when the mayor goes out of town. So that was a great event, and it was a really neat, I didn't actually know about this program from the Y. It's the Newcomer Employment Champions, where they have local employers who basically commit a pledge. They have a commitment agreement where they're able to promote and assist newcomers in finding employment within the town. So I actually have a copy of their commitment agreement, so I'll leave it with the town staff, and I'll probably give them to our your pillar, Councillor Marco's other one too as well. So if any employers in the town are interested, I can either put them in contact with the Y or they can contact the town and get a copy of the commitment agreement. So it's a really excellent initiative, and there were some amazing examples. There were big employers, like all the way up from McDonald's and Wyndham, down to 2 or 3 person shops, and they're all doing great stuff to encourage newcomers to work in the community. That's it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you for stepping in for me, and I hear great things about your speech, so thank you for that. Councillor Burton.
Thank you. So I would also like to congratulate Inglewood School. They were super excited to show their school and all their efforts. And I didn't actually win anything that I bid on. It was hard to keep up with the kids who were bidding on everything. So it was really fun. Also attended the Working Together for a Better Future in February, the reception and the speaker sessions, which were really informative, and it was great to meet a lot of the new councillors and a lot of the new mayors. And I also brought to share with everybody a tourism information booklet that they had on site, which is just different hotspots in the province that you might want to take advantage of this summer. And also, I thought this was completely interesting, a map on how to get there. An actual map. So you could teach your kids how to read the map. Okay, that's cool. But it was fun. So I brought these back in order to share with everybody. So if you want to have a look through, I'll just leave those with you. And that's it.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bellman.
Well, I was on vacation last week, so, but I just approached the meeting, so because of that, but I still look at it back, I do drive around and look at what things going on in town and just keep in touch with what's going on, so that's all I did this week.
Thank you, Councillor Bellman, we appreciate that and welcome back. And also welcome back to Councillor Day, who's joining us again after sabbatical. I know you've been on sabbatical, Councillor Day, but I do know that you've been active with Age Friendly. Maybe you can let us know what's going on with the Age Friendly Committee.
We got to attend the wellness fair, and hopefully we have people that voiced an interest in joining us, that they actually fill out the application and do join us. I know there's someone, I don't know if they're going to come to the meeting Friday or not.
The chair, Dave Sheets, was speaking to them today.
Okay.
There's two active applications that have been submitted.
Which is exciting, especially when we were down in numbers, because one of our members has picked up a catering contract and isn't able to join us anymore, which is a sad loss. And other than that, that's about it.
Thank you, Councillor. We appreciate your work on the Age Friendly Committee. So I guess it's my turn. It's been a very busy couple of weeks. I kicked it off with sort of a fun thing. I was on the air on CBC Information Morning talking about our local turkey population and how they are basically the local celebrities and a bit of a community connector, because I think there are more posts about the turkeys and where they are and what they're doing and how many of them there are and what are they going to do next than almost anything else. So that was really, really fun to do. I then had the opportunity to represent the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick at a conference in Edmonton, Alberta, with the Alberta Municipalities Association called, it was the President's Summit on the Future of Local Government. And I was on a panel with 2 other people. One was the Executive Director of the Manitoba Association of Municipalities, and the other one was the President of the Saskatchewan Union of Municipalities. And the purpose of the panel was to talk about local governance reform, our experiences, the things that went well, the things that are still going on, the things that could have gone better. Also, a focus of the panel was intermunicipal collaboration and our approach and our successes in that regard. It was very interesting to hear the perceptions of the people from Saskatchewan and from Manitoba who have gone through that process already in the past, and the questions from the people that represent municipalities in Alberta whose province is considering going through a local governance reform. They were particularly interested in the Regional Service Commission model, how that's structured here, what municipalities think of it, and how things are going so far. So it was very, very interesting. I felt very proud to represent the town and the union municipalities of New Brunswick on a national stage like that. I also attended the Working Together for a Better Future local, it basically was the final orientation session put on by the government of New Brunswick for local governance reform. I mean, there might be more in the future, but they said this was the last one, so. But it was very good. It talked a lot about collaboration, respectful workplaces, dispute resolution, talked about the new mandates with local governance reform running through the regional service commissions. So it was very valuable, and there were probably about 300 other municipal officials there. So it was really wonderful to connect with everybody, hear their perspectives, what are they going through, what are they learning, what can we share with each other to help us all succeed. So that was really great. A very fun thing I got to do was to be at the opening ceremonies for the Canadian Masters Curling Championship. I was proud to represent the town on that venue, and apparently it was televised because some of my relatives on the other side of the country saw me, so that was kind of fun. I attended and supported Quispam on their announcement for the Para Hockey Championships that are going to be coming in December to the Q-Flex. With the new mandates with the Regional Service Commission, the committee structures are now complete, and we're starting to plan for meetings. The first meetings are coming up this week and next. I've been tasked to be the chair of the Regional Transportation Committee, so there have been a lot of meetings and phone calls and planning sessions to get that off the ground, and we have our first meeting with the full committee on Friday. So Regional Service Commission has been very intense. It's been a lot of work. I'm past chair, so I'm on the executive committee, so there's a lot of meetings there. There have been numerous meetings with the full commission and on top of the committee meetings. So it's very, very, very busy, and we are starting to get some work done, so that's nice. It's nice to see things moving forward now. I also attended the Easter basket auction at Inglewood School, and it was very inspiring to see the school spirit that is there, that they were able, I think it was 135 different baskets. Some were donated by different families, people, teachers, etc. The really fun ones, all of a number of the classes got together to make these big, massive baskets. And they were all themed, so there was like the baking basket or the movie night basket. And it was really fun to see the kids be so excited to see how much money is our basket going for, because they kept coming and checking. So that was really, really wonderful. And one thing I do want to point out, though, I was speaking with Principal Burke, who's the principal of the school, and she, we're talking about what a successful event it was, and she pointed out, well, yes, but we can't fit everybody in this room. So she said it could be a more successful event if we had a gym that was a regulation size, the way it should be in the school that we deserve here. Another thing she pointed out to me was that one of the children who took part in making one of the theme baskets, her father is in a wheelchair. He was not able to attend the event because the school is not accessible. So that is something, we always need to make sure that stays together. The school is a huge priority, that they're not acceptable, and we have to move forward. We have wonderful staff, we have wonderful students, we have wonderful parents that make the best of the situation, but I think those were important points that I took away from that event that we need to always remember. And I think the last major thing that I'd like to share was I was interviewed by Global TV over the weekend regarding the RCMP retro costs that we talked about numerous times this evening. Hopefully getting the message out. The president of UMNB, Andrew Black, was also interviewed, as well as the mayor of Hampton, Robert Doucette. And we're all in the same situation in terms of not knowing, well, Hampton has, I think, their number of 135,000, but some of us are still waiting on our number. And we're still advocating to have the federal government change their mind on that. And if we stand united and make sure that we're heard, maybe that will happen. So that's the end of my council report this evening. So we will move on to item 15, business arising from committee of the whole. There being none, we'll move on to item 16, which is adjournment. The motion is that the council of the town of Bay-Westfield adjourn the meeting at 8:04 p.m. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried.